Welcome back to Fight Night Extra on talkSPORT 2. I'm Gareth A Davies with the one and only former world champion Barry Jones. So, heartbreak for Delicious Orie in the Olympics. The 92 kg medal hopeful crashed out in the last 16, losing on a split decision, and he spoke to us afterwards.
I feel like I've done enough to just about edge it. I should have done more, to be honest with you, not just to edge it. I know I should have done more, but it just wasn't my day today, and unfortunately this is the day where it really mattered. So I'm just going to have to take it. Like I was saying earlier, I've been hit, I've been dropped in my sparring, and I've been really wounded as an athlete, but this is the worst. Sorry. This is the worst thing I'm about to go through. So, yeah.
Round one, you got full marks from the judges. Can you put into words what you think happened in round 2 and 3?
I think he just he let a few more shots, a couple more shots that were just eye-catching, and I noticed them. The whole crowd noticed it, the judges noticed it, and I thought I really need to put it on him. That's when I started to make the mistakes and open myself a little bit more. Yeah.
The judges have been going for those eye-catching boxers, those showmen. I mean, you're very entertaining yourself. Do you think perhaps you might be more suited to professional boxing?
Yeah, I would say so. I think in terms of the showy part of it, I'm a big fan of getting the crowd together and really entertaining. I have to obviously work on my style because the pro style is different, and which I will be doing. But for now, I just have to get back to the drawing boards and really think about what I'm going to do next.
So, I'm going to give my take on this. I watched it twice, Barry. I wrote an analysis piece, comment piece for The Telegraph. I think the split decision was ridiculous. I thought it was incompetent judging. The first time I thought the last round was very close. Well, all 3 rounds are close. The first round was the least closest with Orie dominating with his jab. The second round was a little bit closer still, but I still gave it to Orie. And even the third round, and I watched it the second time, I just shaded towards him. Split decision, ridiculous, incompetent judging. I really do think that this is one of the reasons why, apart from the fact that there has been inconsistencies, if I can call them that, and allegations about the way amateur boxing is run, we ain't going to see boxing in the Olympics in 2028 in Los Angeles, in my view. I mean, I've been talking to people like Mauricio Suleiman, the president of WBC, who's campaigning, and other people that want to campaign. These are the kind of scenarios, for me, that show up amateur boxing and why it is behind the times, apart from the fact that they're at war with the IOC as well. As I said, I went back over it. I broke down round by round in an article for The Telegraph. I think most people are in agreement. I wasn't trying to be biased towards him, but I do not see, you can score it 2-1 maybe, but I do not see how those 5 judges came up with a win for Chaloyan.
I think the problem with the scoring is that your style is your style. So you box the way you box the best to win a fight. That's what you should always do. But also, when you know what people are looking for, then, and boxing has changed over the years, by the way. You know, there was a time where in the 70s and 80s, certainly, amateur boxing was just the same as professional boxing, just short distance. Then it got to a computer scoring after 88, after Roy Jones, of course, in Seoul. What happened there?
The biggest robbery ever.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So then it changed a bit. And then the computer scoring got introduced, and that's where it became a little bit more power disappeared. It was never about hitting heavy. It was about hitting clean, hitting often. And then that tapered down into not so often, just cleaner punches. Don't get hit was more important than being hit. And then sort of after 2008, it started to revert back a little bit more. Body shots were included a little bit more again, and a bit more weight in the shots. So you've seen, the Americans being boss, then it was the Cubans took over, then the former Soviet Union countries, Eastern European countries, if you like, they started to dominate and still do now, mainly because of what the scoring criteria. In this Olympics, it's changed fight by fight.
Yeah.
Rosie Eccles, who was absolutely robbed, that's the biggest rob.
Yes, I agree.
Bigger than Delicious Orie. Like, she won every round and then had a public warning against her opponent and still never won the fight. No, she was being aggressive. Then Delicious Orie boxes behind the jab like you should do. Perfect. Won the fight on his left hand alone, I felt. Clean punches, hit and move, the amateur way. and he didn't get the rub of the green. I don't know what you want. I don't know what you need, what they're asking for, and that's difficult for you to manage a fight there because you don't know what they want from you. I think that's the problem. Though I would argue that I do think, we're not out to the 28th Olympics. We're just not guaranteed to win. I think that's a big thing we have to remember. We're not excluded. We're not guaranteed the place yet. Boxing. I think it stays because TV companies want boxing, because it's one of the only sports where you produce stars that transcend the Olympics.
Well, yeah, but the problem is, Barry, for the last 2 games, the IOC have had to run it ad hoc as their organisation. That's what they're saying they're not doing anymore. And Kremlev, the head of the International Boxing Association, the new world governing body for amateur boxing, is not cooperating with them. So whether they do it on a basis where it has no synergy with world amateur boxing, that might be the case. They might do their own qualifying tournaments. I don't disagree with you. I agree with you. I think it's a massive loss to not have boxing in the Olympics, televisually and also for the lifeblood of the sport. But I think you made a really valid point just now, which is, what is the criteria for scoring amateur boxing at the Olympics?
We can argue about that in professional boxing as well, let's be honest. But I mean, the problem with boxing, in almost every other sport, contact sports in general actually, but every other sport, you know what the score is. Throughout the whole entirety of the game, the match, the competition, you know what the score is, what the time is, whatever it is, from the start to the end, you know where you are. With combat sports, and just boxing for now, you never know what it is till the end. You get the scoring now in amateur boxing, don't you? In Olympic boxing, where they show you the scorecards after every round. But maybe,
I like that. I do like that.
I do like that. I was never a fan before, but now I do a little bit more now, so you know what you want. But then, or where you are with the contest. But then we're seeing people dominate the last round and not get it.
Yeah.
And then the whole argument of incompetence or corruption. But then, if you're told to look for one thing, we need, as a spectator sport, the public, the fan,
entertainment.
We need to know what the judges are looking for. Then we can help. Then we'll know whether the fighter deserves to win or not. Abiding the rules. The boxing fans don't really understand the rules, and neither do we. People work in the media. We don't really truly understand all the rules and the scoring criteria.
We've been used to winning lots of medals at the Olympics. 5 in London. Fraser Clark getting the bronze in the Tokyo Olympics. We got Joe Joyce winning the silver. Should have been the gold in Rio. Fraser Clark spoke to talkSPORT about Team GB's boxing team seemingly to be struggling at these games and being quite inexperienced. Here's what he had to say.
We're in a results business, there's no mistake about that. And I think, the team and the coaches and Rob McCracken, they knew this. And to be honest, it's been a shorter turnaround this cycle for the Olympic Games. I don't think anyone's had the experience that they're quite needed or wanted. There's a lot of sort of fresh faces to the new major tournaments. Rosie and Charlie, they're very experienced. DJ's got a little bit of experience, but as a whole, that team isn't super experienced. So it's been difficult for him, and I'm not sure where the expectations were. I mean, with Delicious, like I say, he had so much expectation on him, and I felt a little bit sorry for him in a way, because all the expectation, it didn't quite add up to the experience that he's got as an amateur boxer. Do you know what I mean?
So finally, Barry, maybe the run had to come to an end. It wasn't an experienced team of 6. Medals are not forthcoming. We've got greedy about medals, but the knock-on effect is medal funding, of course, exchequer funding for... Sheffield's got an amazing centre now with brilliant facilities, so that's not a problem, and a conveyor belt of talent coming through and a pathway. But the funding will drop as a result without the number of medals.
Yeah, it will. But I think we have to sort of take into account how we had a real rough time of it as well. And so it has been an experienced team, but Rosie Eccles, should be fighting for medals. the Delicious Orie, he wasn't the favourite to win a gold because Jalalov's in his weight, so you can forget about that. Chantel Reed, just lost today as we record this now against the world number 1, and I thought she didn't have to win it, by the way. So we got
There you go. There you go.
But it was a close fight, so I don't argue with that. But she's inexperienced. The inexperience actually cost her the fight, I thought. But she boxed really well. Lewis Richardson's left. We got one hope left. A guy out of his weight division because they had reduced the weight classes to accommodate women's boxing, which is fair enough. He might win a medal. This is the beauty of boxing, beauty of Olympic boxing. It's not always the favourite that gets it. Sometimes you get a guy who's just going there on a hope and a prayer. A good fighter who might go on and win the gold medal. The last Richardson we had in the Olympics was Peter Richardson, who beat Vernon Forrest in the Olympics. The American who was touted, who was a silver medal, world silver medalist, who was touted to win a medal in the Olympics, and he never.
When was that? 84 Los Angeles?
No, that was 90. I think that was 96.
Oh, it was Atlanta. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think if I'm right, yeah. So either way, so Richardson, the name Richardson in British boxing is a quite successful name. So if he can do anything as good as Peter, then he might go a step further than the rest. I don't know if this is the first time that a British team hasn't advanced past the first round.
Yeah, but I'll have to look at the record.
I think it would be.